Chapter 4. The crystal wastes. The land begins to pale long before you reach it. From high above, the green of forest and gold of plain thin gradually into something brighter, flatter, until the earth below gleams like scattered glass beneath the late afternoon sun. You slow your wings. Seraphine drifts slightly to your left, silver scales catching and multiplying the light below. Lyra remains steady between your shoulders, her cloak drawn close against the thinning air. There, she says softly, you had already seen it. The crystal wastes stretch wide in every direction, towering iridescent spires rising from sand, so pale it almost glows. Between them lie fields of broken fragments, smaller crystals half buried like fallen stars. Light bends strangely across their surfaces, splitting and rejoining in subtle distortions. You circle once, not descending yet. The air above the wastes feels warmer than it should. Not heated, conductive. You tilt one wing and widen the circle. Below, reflections shift across the spires in repeating patterns. Sunlight fractures along sharp edges, then gathers in smooth arcs along curved faces. The ground itself seems to hum, too faint to hear clearly from this height, but strong enough that the heart fire within your chest leans toward it in recognition. Seraphine rises slightly, matching your height. It remembers light, she murmurs. You snort lightly. It should. It appears to be made entirely of it. Lyra leans forward slightly, her gaze tracing the patterning below. Not all of it is remembering, she says. You narrow your eyes. Now you descend. Wind shifts warmer as you lower between the tallest spires. The light becomes more intense here, refracted beams sliding across your scales in layered hues of gold, blue, and pale green. Your shadow fractures across the sand beneath you, splitting and reforming with every wing beat. You land in a broad clearing between three towering crystal columns. The sand sinks slightly beneath your claws. Too warm. You flex once, testing it. The warmth pulses faint, rhythmic. Seraphine lands opposite you. Frost traces briefly beneath her talons, calming the heat where she stands. Lyra slides down from your back and kneels immediately, pressing her palm flat against the sand. The hum grows clearer, not loud, measured. You angle your head, listening. Polite, you say thoughtfully, but persistent. Lyra brushes sand aside with careful fingers. Beneath it, faint lines appear, narrow crystal veins threading through the earth like delicate branches. They glow softly. Pulse, pause, pulse. Seraphine steps closer to one of the larger spires and lifts her wing slightly. Its silver light brushes the surface. The spire responds. A flicker runs along its length, upward, then down. You narrow your eyes further. That, you say slowly, is not natural. The air shifts. Between two distant spires, something moves. You lift your head sharply. At first, it appears to be heat distortion. Then Then it splits. A fractured echo of light drifts sideways through the air. A shimmer shaped almost like you, but elongated, distorted, hollow. It flickers, then splits again. Seraphine turns sharply. Reflection anomaly. Lyra rises slowly. It is not a mirror. The fractured shape bends toward a nearby crystal spire. As it touches, the spire brightens sharply, not violently, but intensely, and sends a pulse outward across the ground. The sand trembles beneath your claws. You step forward. Very well, you mutter. Let us test something. You draw in a breath, not deep, not explosive. Controlled. The heartfire responds immediately. Warm, steady, gathering. You lower your head and release a narrow beam of flame toward an empty stretch of sand, well away from the nearest spire. The flame is precise, a bright ribbon of gold that kisses the surface without digging into it. The sand darkens briefly, and the crystal veins beneath it blaze to life. The pulse travels outward faster this time, leaping from vein to spire, rippling in widening arcs. The fractured echo in the air multiplies. Seraphine spreads her wings slightly. You strengthened the pattern. I was testing, you reply calmly. The hum deepens. The sand near a shallow basin ahead begins to ripple. Seraphine stills. Lyra presses both palms into the ground, eyes closing. Movement, she says. You sigh. Please tell me that's decorative. The basin splits. A long, iridescent body rises from the sand, scales refracting light in thousands of shifting shards. Its form coils smoothly, elegant rather than monstrous. Pale eyes regard you without malice, only disturbance. The fractured echoes drift toward it, clinging to its length like flickering ribbons. The hum sharpens. You do not roar. You do not flare your wings in dominance. Instead, you lower your head slightly and narrow your eyes. Of course, it has opinions. The serpent rises higher, coils tightening as the crystal pulses accelerate along its body. You move. One step forward. Claws sink deep. You draw the heartfire inward, containing it. Then you release a sweeping arc of controlled flame across the sand, not toward the serpent, but through the pattern between it and the nearest spire. The resonance fractures, not destroyed, dispersed. At the same moment, Seraphine's silver glow spreads outward across the crystal veins beneath the basin. Frost races delicately along their edges, cooling the overheated pulse without cracking them. Lyra presses deeper into the sand. Soft symbols flare beneath her palms. Steady lines of grounding light that cut the invisible thread, amplifying the serpent's rise. The hum steadies. The serpent pauses. Its coils loosen. It lowers slowly back into the basin, body sinking into sand that closes gently over it. Silence returns. You straighten, smoke curling faintly from your nostrils. Well, you say mildly, that was unnecessary. Seraphine's mouth curves faintly. Lyra exhales, but the air does not relax. You remain still. The drained basin ahead no longer trembles. Yet the crystal veins beneath it glow faintly, outlining shapes not random, but intentional. Seraphine steps lightly across the exposed roots. Frost traces where her talons touch, quieting residual vibration. Lyra brushes more sand aside. More lines emerge. Not cracks, channels. They curve gently outward from the drained basin, connecting spire to spire in sweeping arcs. You lift yourself slightly, wings half spread, and rise just enough to view the field from above. The spires align in repeating angles. The drained basin sits precisely at the center of a broader curve. Seraphine joins you in the air. "It is a lattice," she murmurs. You lower slowly back to the sand. "He did not shatter this place," you say quietly. Lyra's silver eyes remain fixed on the veins beneath her hands. "He tuned it." A faint pulse travels outward along one of the channels. It moves east, toward the horizon, toward the salt plain. The heart fire within your chest hums, not unsettled, responsive. You inhale slowly. "He is not draining the crystals for strength," you say. Seraphine watches another pulse move along the lattice. "He is teaching them to answer." The word settles between you. Answer. The pulses repeat. Even, measured, rehearsed. You feel something shift inside you. Not irritation, recognition. "He is not chasing the heart fire," you murmur. Lyra waits. You lift your gaze toward the pale shimmer in the far distance. He is preparing the world to hear. The crystal wastes fall quiet again. The lattice dims beneath the sand, resting but intact. The sky above deepens toward evening. You stand for several breaths. Then you lower yourself slightly. Lyra climbs onto your back without hesitation. Seraphine unfurls her wings, silver membranes glowing softly in twilight. You roll your shoulders once, gold scales catching the last slant of sun. "Well," you say quietly, warmth returning in measured tone. "If he is teaching the world to listen," your wings spread wide, stirring spirals of pale sand that rise and shimmer briefly in violet light. "We should arrive before it learns the wrong lesson." You push off. The first beat of your wings is strong but unhurried. Sand ripples outward beneath you in widening circles. Seraphine rises beside you, ascent smooth and luminous. You climb steadily. From above, the crystal wastes resemble a field of frozen stars embedded in pale earth. Lyra hums softly behind you, a steady melody that smooths the air around your wings. The sky deepens to indigo. Your shadow stretches across the dunes and fades. Ahead, the salt plain gleams faintly beneath the rising crescent moon. The heart fire glows steady within your chest, not flickering, aligned. 3 shapes cross the darkening sky. Gold, silver, cloaked stillness between them, not chasing, advancing, and far beyond the horizon, where salt meets fractured night. A faint, answering pulse flickers once, then stills. Your wings beat again, stronger, and the night opens before you.